In the end, that's what good graphic design is about, a good balance.
Hi, and welcome to my living room, the place where I read all of my magazines. My name is Fiona, and I'm a huge indie magazine fan. I'm also a writer and editor working in the spheres of fashion and beauty. And welcome to Touch Some Mags, the series where I introduce you, my beloved listener, to one indie magazine and one magazine maker per episode. I hope you've made yourself cozy, because today I want to introduce you to a brand new publication. Inter, created by editor-in-chief Quirijn Kandou. For this video, I spoke to Quirijn about the magazine, its values and the ideas behind it, and you'll hear parts of the interview throughout this episode. If you want to read the full conversation with Quirijn, head over to my Substack at Fiona Visiona, where I dive deeper into the making of this issue. Inter is a very new name in the indie scene, but it arrives with a very clear purpose. It's an interdisciplinary magazine that explores one specific social phenomenon per issue.
Inter started as this idea of wanting to do a project based around the topic of the first issue. There's only been one issue released, but it's about general societal phenomenons and intricacies. It started off with me trying to tackle the issue of masculinity, and then especially from a queer/gay person perspective. From my own personal experience, this struggle with masculinity was clear and always in the forefront of a lot of decisions that were made about how you viewed yourself, about how you interacted with others. For instance, dating. There's two people who both have this kind of view on masculinity skew, but it's this very interesting thing to maneuver around. I thought, why is this so prevalent for not only me, but for so many people? And so it became Inter, with the first issue being modern masculinity.
It's not a sprawling anthology. Instead, it's a focused conversation held between Quirijn and 6 different artists.
I started the project simply with making an outline of what I wanted it to look like, both visually and textually. And then within that, really did very simply put the mood board of it all. I just wanted, okay, this is what I want. This is what the colors look like, the artists, the art forums, because it's a magazine about art forums, showcasing these problems. I just made a big mood board of it. And then there was already a list. And then I kept adding to the list every time I saw a cool artist or thought something really attached to the topic or had a different view on it. And so I kept going. And then I just had a list that I emailed like 25 people in one go. And then just kept it going until finally I had 6.
I personally love it when a magazine maker leans into the role of the curator. And that's exactly what Quirijn does here. He creates a space for a conversation about the intricacies and internalized emotions around relevant societal phenomenon, all seen through the lens of curated artists. The first publication, issue 01, is the Masc Issue. It discusses the takes, feelings and interpretations of what modern masculinity looks like today. From sex to the sexes, it explores all parts of masculinity, even the ones that stay hidden or often unsaid.
The imagery that was chosen for the magazine was mainly all curated. It wasn't that this shoots were done like from myself, because it was a self-run project that would have been too big of a task to do. So I just found already existing work and that I curated based on a long research document. There are a lot of interviews too that really mapped out word for word what is the target audience looking for, what do they want, and how can you approach that. And then with that in mind, I started looking, all the imagery should be quite revealing and like intriguing and spark your interest visually, but also it's quite intimate because it's about masculinity, which then also has notes of sexuality. And I wanted it to also hit this point of it being very modern day. So the view on modern masculinity is through screen. So I wanted a digitalized form of sexuality, but also this masculine presenting person all into one. And then that is characterization of the masculine ideal. And then there's one artist I really created work together with him. It was more deliberation.
It feels modern, bold, and unapologetically queer. It asks the right questions without being preachy. And it really is about unraveling our intricacies, those small, tangled parts of our identity that are hard to put into words, but definitely easier to express through art.
Graphically, it was quite a hard thing to capture. I started to look at magazines that really have this good balance between it just being about the images, but then also it being about text. In the end, that's what good graphic design is about, a good balance, but it was quite hard with it. So Foam is a good example. I looked at publications that featured a lot of artists and their work, and I just wanted it to mainly be this conversation, and then the images would follow as it would be an exhibition. It should feel less like an article to me. I wanted it to more be an exhibition space you walk through, and you first have all the knowledge, and then you take the knowledge with you and go through the work that has been created. And that as a landscape, I wanted to be clean cut, concise, but have the modern twists, and just let the images go to the forefront.
Inter is super compact. In a world of oversized coffee table books, there is something so refreshing about a magazine that feels like a manifesto you can slip into your pocket. It's a quick read of 6 interviews, but don't let the size fool you. The content has a lot of power. The design is a continuation of the theme and the intention of the project. It's clean, it's intentional.
In general, there's a decorative font, which is on the back of the magazine, but then also just within the magazine itself as like headers. I wanted each issue to have a different header or like stylistic font so that it would really differentiate per issue. And that one was really glowy and more sensual as a contrast to the masculine and the hardness. And then the general fonts, I wanted to be very readable, modern. So I chose to have thick line headers, which were like just a simple Arial font, but then hyper bold font. And then that made into a more readable one as well. For me, I have my plan to create this magazine annually. It is a real side project. That's how it started. It was still within my studies. So I want this as like an extra add-on to the work I'm already doing, just so I can keep on creating it. Now, I already have an idea and a vision and kind of visually mapped out what the second one would be like. It would be more about relationship with technology, the idea of being overstimulated and having too much of a connection with the laptop or the phone or whatever. But it's first idea. I still need it to be mapped out because it's quite a topic that's been talked about a lot, same as masculinity. So the question is, how do you keep it interesting? And that I still need to figure out. But there's an idea, and that's where it starts.
Inter is a reminder that you don't need 200 pages to change a perspective. You just need the right voices and a curator who knows how to listen, and most importantly, who to listen to. And I'm super excited to see what Quirijn comes up with next for the second issue. It's a young project with a lot of potential. Thank you so much to listening to episode 3 of Touch Some Marks. And on that note, please get out of my living room. You have been here long enough.